The blinding desert sun glared over Fort Irwin, California, a stretch of harsh terrain that looked every bit like the Middle East. Dust swirled around armored vehicles, radio chatter filled the air, and somewhere beyond the ridges, the sound of simulated gunfire echoed. But this wasn't an actual battlefield, it was the U.S. Army's National Training Center, where America's soldiers prepared for the real thing. Private Ryan Keller wiped the sweat from his forehead, tightening his grip on his M4 rifle. His unit, Charlie Company, had been running live war simulations for 12 straight hours. No breaks, no shortcuts, only raw, exhausting realism. Artificial intelligence drones scanned their movements, hidden sensors tracked every bullet fired, and even their heart rates were monitored in real time. Every mistake, every hesitation, was recorded and replayed later by commanders. "Move, Keller. You're in the open." Sergeant Miller barked through the headset. Ryan dove behind a concrete barrier, his heart pounding. Even knowing it was a simulation, his instincts screamed danger. That was the point, to make it feel so real, their reactions would become automatic. Explosions thundered in the distance as smoke grenades filled the sky. The squad advanced, clearing buildings one by one, their movements synchronized like a machine. Each soldier had a role: breach, clear, secure. It was a dance of discipline, forged through weeks of sweat and repetition. From a command tent miles away, instructors watched the operation unfold on massive screens. Their software recreated the entire battle in digital 3D, every soldier represented by a glowing icon. Mistakes were analyzed instantly. If someone lagged, the AI flagged it. If someone broke formation, it was logged. To outsiders, it looked like a high-tech video game. But to these soldiers, it was deadly serious. Every drill, every simulated explosion, prepared them for moments when real bullets would fly, when hesitation could mean losing a friend. For Ryan, this was more than training. It was a test of courage, focus, and brotherhood, the invisible bond that held them all together under fire. And as the desert sun dipped behind the mountains, the next phase of the simulation was just beginning. The night settled over the training grounds, but the mission didn't stop. Under the faint hum of distant generators, the soldiers switched to night vision mode, the world turning into a glowing shade of green. Every flicker of movement, every sound, became sharper, heavier. Private Keller crouched low beside Sergeant Miller as they received new orders through the headset. Enemy convoy approaching from the east. Simulated IED threat possible. The voice was calm, professional, yet behind those words lay the intensity of a real battlefield. Keller's pulse quickened. He could hear the crunch of boots, the low hum of engines, and the crackle of static. They moved in silence, navigating through a maze of destroyed vehicles and makeshift walls. Each soldier communicated with hand signals only, the silence broken only by the rhythmic clicking of safety switches being released. Suddenly, a flash, a simulated explosion lit up the night sky. The ground shook beneath them. IED triggered. Miller yelled. Smoke engulfed the area. The soldiers hit the ground, weapons aimed forward. Artificial screams echoed through the radio. Though it was all part of the drill, the realism was brutal, designed to test their nerves, teamwork, and decision-making under pressure. Keller crawled forward through the dust. "Alpha Team, this is Charlie Company, requesting medevac for simulated casualty," he shouted. Within seconds, a drone zipped overhead, scanning the chaos below. Its infrared sensors locked onto the injured soldier, feeding live data back to command. From the observation tent, analysts watched closely. Every soldier's body cam streamed live footage. They noted Keller's steady voice, his quick response. "Good composure," one instructor murmured. "His learning." As the chaos settled, Miller gathered the squad behind cover. "Listen up," he said, his voice steady but intense. "This is what saves lives out there. You freeze, you fail. You move, you win. Remember that." The team nodded, breathless but focused. Even in simulation, they felt the weight of responsibility, the awareness that one mistake could cost everything in a real mission. Somewhere deep inside, Keller realized this was more than a test. It was shaping who he would become, not just a soldier, but a protector, trained to stand tall when everything around him fell apart. And as the night carried on, new orders came through, this time, a scenario far more complex, and far more dangerous. Mission update: enemy stronghold located in Sector Delta. Expect heavy resistance, the command voice announced through static. The soldiers, covered in sweat and dust, tightened their grips on their rifles. The desert wind howled across the barren hills as they advanced, their boots crunching on the gravel. Private Keller could feel his heart hammering in his chest. This was the most complex simulation yet, a full-scale assault under unpredictable conditions. Drones circled overhead, scanning for movement, while armored Hums rolled beside them, kicking up clouds of dirt. "Stack up," Sergeant Miller ordered as they approached a two-story building made of cinder blocks and rusted metal. The infrared markers painted faint red dots on the door. "Breach." Boom. The door blasted open, smoke bursting out as Keller's squad stormed in. Every corner was a potential ambush point. Inside, life-sized mannequins equipped with sensors represented hostiles. The soldiers fired training rounds that registered hits digitally, each action tracked by the system. "Room clear." "Hallway clear." Voices echoed through the comms, sharp and focused. Suddenly, Keller froze, a shadow moved behind a partition. His instincts kicked in. He ducked and rolled, firing 2 precise rounds. The monitor above flashed target neutralized. Miller nodded approvingly. "Nice reaction, Keller." But the mission wasn't over. Upstairs, another team was pinned down by simulated machine gun fire. The deafening noise and strobe lights created chaos, the kind that tests a soldier's composure when fear claws at the mind. Keller sprinted up the stairs with Miller close behind. They took cover, exchanging bursts of simulated fire. The air smelled of smoke and cordite, a near-perfect recreation of combat. From the control tent, the commanders watched silently. Every second of hesitation, every tactical choice was analyzed. The technology behind it all was staggering: motion sensors, battlefield AI, and dynamic threat algorithms that adapted in real time. The simulation learned from their actions, becoming harder with each mission. After 20 minutes of intense combat, the squad finally secured the building. "Objective complete," the voice confirmed. The soldiers collapsed to the floor, panting. It wasn't real, but their exhaustion, adrenaline, and pride certainly were. Sergeant Miller looked around at his men. "Remember this feeling," he said quietly. "Out there, this training will be what keeps you alive." Keller nodded, eyes fixed on the horizon. He didn't realize it yet, but these simulations were preparing him for something far beyond the desert, something real. The morning light spilled across the desert as the final simulation began. Dust hung in the air like a thin mist, and the faint hum of drones echoed overhead. This was the graduation exercise, a 24-hour non-stop mission meant to push every soldier to their physical and mental limit. No scripts, no guidance, only instinct, teamwork, and the lessons they'd earned through weeks of training. Private Keller adjusted his helmet, exhaustion weighing heavy on his shoulders. His uniform was soaked with sweat, his voice raw from shouting commands. But there was pride in his eyes. He wasn't the same soldier who'd walked into this camp weeks ago. "Charlie Company, advance to Phase Delta," came the order. The squad moved through a ravine, every step cautious. This simulation mixed everything: drones, cyber threats, aerial strikes, and unpredictable enemy AI that changed tactics like a real opposing force. It was chaos, and it was brilliant. Out of nowhere, an explosion rocked the ground. "Contact left," Miller shouted. The squad scattered, diving behind cover. Keller aimed down his sight, heart pounding. His mind flashed back to the first day, when every move felt uncertain, when fear made him hesitate. But not now. His body moved on reflex. He covered his teammates, radioed support, and advanced under pressure. Minutes stretched into hours. The soldiers moved through simulated villages, cleared buildings, and coordinated with armored units and air support. Every decision counted. Every mistake was exposed by the system's ruthless accuracy. Finally, after an exhausting 23 hours, a voice came through the radio: "Mission accomplished. All objectives secured." The battlefield went silent. The soldiers slowly lowered their weapons, breathing heavy. Some smiled, others just stared into the distance, lost in thought. In the control center, officers clapped quietly, proud, but analytical. The simulation was over, but its purpose was clear: to transform ordinary recruits into warriors who could face chaos without flinching. Later, as the sun set over the Mojave horizon, Keller sat outside his tent. Sergeant Miller walked up beside him. "You did good today," he said simply. "You're ready." Keller looked at the distant mountains glowing red under the sunset. "Feels real," he said. Miller smirked. "That's the point. Next time, it will be." The hum of the desert wind carried their silence. Training was over, and for America's soldiers, the real test was yet to come.